Got it. Okay. Okay, fellas. So it's it now. This is Erev Hanukkah. It's Erev Hanukkah. And I was just saying that, we always say that from the Nes Nigla, right? The Pach Shemen that burned for 8 days. From Nes Nigla, we learned to Nistorim. Some say to the Milchama. I don't know if the Milchama was a Nes Nissa so much. In any case, but as I looked over the Tefillah for Hanukkah, it said, B'yamim ha'hem, b'zman hazeh. That's what we need. We need the nisim that we had in those days. B'zman hazeh. We need it now. We need it now. Let me tell you a story. It's going around Hatzalah. True story. Which happened October 7th. When they first came, Hamas took over the police station in Sderot. They took over the police station. And they killed the occupants, the policemen, and the people that were there. And they took over. And their snipers were on top of the roof of the police station. And they were shooting everybody that came in sight. There was an police officer, that was shot and was bleeding badly. But he was lying in the grounds not far from the police station. And anybody tried to reach him, which they certainly did, they would, the snipers would shoot at them. So they couldn't get near him. And he's going to bleed to death. But what could they do? What could they do? So one of the Hatzalah members, he was a Hatzalah, I think he's a Rebbe also, I think he's a very chashuv guy, but he also knows how to use a gun. So one of the Hatzalah members said, told another one, listen, said, you give a burst of firing. Give it all you got. So that they'll lower their heads. And as they lower their heads, I'm going to run and grab him and drag him. Okay? They did it. They all the people who had guns over there gave Mamash a long burst of firing, right? And he ran and grabbed this guy and he dragged him. But he couldn't get very far. There was a dumpster. So he dragged him to the other side of the dumpster. And there he tried to do as much first aid as he could do. Stop the bleeding. It helped somewhat, but it wasn't good enough. He had to get him to a hospital very fast. He had to get him to the hospital. He tried to move away from the dumpster, shooting. He couldn't move. He was trapped behind his dumpster. He was trapped. This other person was trapped. They couldn't move. They didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to do. Suddenly, a car came from nowhere. A car came, went right next to the dumpster and stopped, right? Stopped right there, giving him coverage, right? The person, ran out of the car, just ran away. Wow. From nowhere. So he dragged the man away, and the car served to protect him as he went away to safe ground. Later he found out who drove his car there, right? There was someone who Nebuch was shell shot. Mamish shell shot. He couldn't take the shooting. He had from the past, he had been shell shocked. And when he heard that Hamas had attacked So he got in his car and he said he's going to drive. Where's the safest place in Shedroth? The police station. So he's going to drive to the police station, right? He comes close to the police station and sees they're shooting from the police station. They're shooting at people. So he just parked his car and ran. Meanwhile, he gave him a chance to get away. That's a story that's going around. It's a true story, of course, that's going around Hatzalah. Hashem arranged it just in time for him to escape and get this person to hospital. Okay. You know, I said I was going to give a shir. I wanted to give a shir on Hanukkah. I'll tell you the truth. I've been running back and forth between Herzog, where my wife is now, right, the yeshiva. I just barely got a chance to set up my menorah, my Chanukiah. I hope I'm not going to bore you, but I'm going to tell you the story. I'm going to tell you the story that we say every year. At least it'll bring some good memories back, I hope. Remember that we could close the lights, we sit down, we light some candles, and I told the true story, a true story. I heard it from the daughter of the person it happened to, who himself was a Rosh Yeshiva. Yeshiva of Chicago tells. And the story goes like this. The story goes like this. He and another boy, they were young. They were on the Trans-Siberian Railroad. The Germans were advancing, and they were trying to escape the advancing Germans. Going across Siberia and from there to the east, the far east, like so many others did. But it was a long trip, and the Germans were coming in fast. They were trying to escape, and it was going through miles and miles of forests and snow, wind, severe weather conditions. The train would go on and on. And these fellows were also a little bit afraid of the Russians. The Russians weren't that much more peaceful to the Jews than the Germans, the Yamach Shemov Zichron. So whenever they would do anything, they would do it between the cars. The train went on. One day, he said to his friend, he said, you know what tomorrow is? And his friend, who was trying to keep a little bit of a calendar, said, yeah, tomorrow's the first day of Hanukkah. So he told his friend, you know what we have to do? He said, oh, you're crazy. We can't do it. We can't do it now. Not even their issue Beso. We can't light Hanukkah licht when we're trying to escape. He said, I have a plan. He said, if you notice, the train stops every day. Sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon, but it stops. Take on coal, to take on whatever, mail, some passengers, whatever. Sometimes it's just fuel, but it stops. And when it stops, he says, right, so the doors open on one side, facing the station. The doors open on both sides, but I will sneak out the door that's opening away from the station. I will go underneath the car, and there near the wheels, there's some dripping oil. I would try to fill up a small cup with oil, at least enough to burn one wick. To burn, we'll take a wick from our tear shirt, take a wick, and we can burn for the share that's we needed to burn. You're crazy. They'll see you. They'll shoot. They'll kill you. They'll think that you're sabotaging the train. He said, I have to try. It's Hanukkah. You have to try. So, sure enough, the train stopped in the morning. He got him to take the train quickly. He'd been watching it. He said he had I think 9 minutes. 9 minutes. The usual stop. It's just taking on fuel. And it was dripping, not fast enough. It was dripping and dripping. Finally, I thought maybe I had enough, and there was a whoo. The horn of the engine started, right? And he could hear, he could hear the train starting to move, right? Quickly, he lifted himself up with all his kayach, and he just barely got into the train as the train started moving. But he had it. He had a cup, and he had some oil. And that evening, they went between cars, and they tore their shirts. They made a wick. They made the brachas. They lit an Erev Hanukkah. And that happened the second day and the third day. Every day the train stopped. Now was the eighth day. And the morning passed, the afternoon, it was getting towards evening. The train didn't stop. They're going through a very, very heavily forested area. Very few people living there. It was really Siberia. And the train's going on and on. And then it's the evening. It's the evening already. Sunset, the evening. The train didn't stop. And they're waiting. They're both actually waiting. They're saying, his friend was saying to Tehillim, he was learning, hey, please, stop. The train's not stopping. It didn't stop. Finally, it got late. It got in the evening, 11, 12, midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. They knew they had till 4 o'clock because at that time, then be sunrise or something. You know, it would be too late, 4 or 5 o'clock. I don't know, whatever it was. They had a time. They had to light before then to be in the midst of Hanukkah for the last day of Hanukkah. But the train wasn't stopping. And finally, his friend said, "Listen, I can't keep my eyes open." He said, "If somehow the train stops, wake me up." And he fell asleep. But he said, "I can't sleep. I'm waiting. The train has to stop." He's waiting and waiting. Please, Hashem. He said, "Please don't let them have this nitzachon over us. Give us the koyach to light the last night of Hanukkah. Give us the koyach to light, to overcome our enemies. Hashem, it's up to you. It's in your hands. Give us the koyach." Suddenly there was a burst of fresh, cold air. And he opens his eyes and he sees standing there at the edge of the car was a man with a white beard, chubby man, with a big box in front of them, holding on to the box. And he was saying, "Buy this," and he was speaking in Russian, "Buy this, buy that, buy, this is for sale, this is cheap, this is expensive, this is good, whatever." He goes around. The man comes close and holds his box. So he knew enough Russian to say, wait a minute. He looks in the box. Maybe there's something there that can burn. Maybe something can burn. At the edge of the box, he sees a candle, a real candle. like a yardstick in a round thing, a candle. So he quickly gives him money. He takes it. He said, yeah, good. And he goes on out the other end of the car. He has his candle. He wakes up his. Where did you get that? Where did you get candle? He said, "We'll tell you later. Let's go. Let's light. We only have another half an hour. Let's go." They went between the cars. They lit the candle. Allah Nisan. Allah Nisan. After the half an hour burned, his friend says, "Come, I gotta see it." He told him the story. I gotta see this guy. So they started walking towards the back of the train. Car after car. Not there. Another car, not there. Finally, they asked, there was most of the conductors were very cruel. There was one conductor that was a decent fellow. And they asked him, tell me something. This big fat guy that was selling at the big box, he was selling his wares. Where did he go? Where did he get onto the train? Where did he go? And the conductor said, listen, I know it's been a tough trip. It's been too hard on you fellas. You better sit down and rest a little bit. But the train hasn't stopped. And it's not stopping again. It's not stopping until the morning. No fellow got on the train. Nobody was selling his wares. You know, you must be overtired or something. Sit down and rest a bit. That's it. And that's the story. That's the story. That's the Nes Chanukah. And sometimes when a person does whatever he can do, goes way beyond his kayach, refuses to accept the obstacles that are preventing him from doing the Ratzon Hashem, and he's going to do the Ratzon Hashem, sometimes HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends us Eliyahu Hanavi to enable us to do the Ratzon Hashem. Now we ask Hashem, B'yamim Hahem, coming to Hanukkah, we need your help every day, another 2, another 4, another 3, every day. Too many good people are being killed. We have to overcome the terrorists. We have to overcome Hamas Yimach Shemam, Hezbollah Yimach Shemam. We have to overcome them. We're suffering. Eretz Yisrael is suffering. We need Bizman Hazeh Hashem. We need the Nisim of Bizman Hazeh of B'yamim Hahem. We need the Nisim. I don't know about you guys, but in our yeshiva we shout, Matir Asurim, Baruch Atah Hashem, Matir Asurim. We need to save those that are captured. We need to destroy the enemy. Hashem, do Nisim for us as you did in those days. Bizman Hazeh. Do it, Bizman Hazeh. Thank you guys. Have a great Hanukkah. Hanukkah Sameach.
Thank you, Rebbe. Chag Sameach.
Thank you, Rebbe.
Chag Sameach. Thank you much.
Thank you, Rebbe. Refuah Shleimah to the Rebbetzin.
Amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.